Finding the geek within.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Starstruck, where we review episodes of Stargirl. This is episode 13, part 2. My name is Cleve.
I'm Michael.
This is Stephanie.
And we are on the season finale, I'm assuming. The way this ended, I doubt there's another episode after this.
According to IMDb, this is the season finale.
So we made it, guys. We finished the whole thing.
We're done. Game over. Nothing else matters.
If you just had to describe the finale, Stephanie, in one word, could you? And what would that one word be?
Harry's not alive. Or Henry.
You know what? For a moment, I was like, damn. One thing Stephanie put all her chips into, she got. And then I was like, oh, nope.
I paused it.
No joke.
I paused it to tell Derek, I get to say I told you so. And then I unpaused it and went, oh, man.
I paused it to look at Jennifer, and I said, oh, my God, now I got to hear Stephanie talk about she was right.
I stopped it because I watched it twice, and both times, like, I still, even the second time I watched it, I was like, where the fuck did Henry come from? Oh, wait. Oh, I remember now. But yeah, no.
Okay, so we are talking about the Yolanda interacting with Brainwave. It's so weird because she was like,
I have so many notes for this episode.
Man, me too. Do you want to just start at the top and we'll work our way down? Okay.
Yeah.
So we started with 3 minutes before the thing went down, and we open with Tuba Turd, and I feel like that's a pretty good one.
I don't like the way that the kid's just a really bad actor.
He is. He's. You know what? Is he playing a crazy man? Because is he a bad actor? Because he did look like a crazy man.
I think that's a normal look for him, man.
That's cool.
My first note for the opening scene was, I refuse to believe that not one fucking person fell into the goddamn football field. Also, Bane already did this.
He did do that. The exact same thing. But his was cooler because the guy made a touchdown when it happened.
This was just band practice.
Hey, did you look into anything extra to this episode? Because we focused on a guy in a bow tie, and I was like, are you someone I don't know?
A bow tie. The teacher?
Yeah. No, not the teacher who broke up the fight. There was another teacher that it paused on for a moment, and he was like looking at the camera and then ran away. I mean, let us know in the comments if you know this mystery person. I
will say that they accurately picked names out, although you never heard the names. They accurately picked out the names for the credits for characters that are in Star and Stripe, which is the comic book this is based off of.
Okay. So the machine starts going off, and Icicle gets real weird with the little girl.
I sent Cleve a message that "fuck you, Stargirl" immediately when I started watching this episode, and like I just didn't need the little girl for like a minute and a half being like, "Dad." Although I did write, I hope that my daughter's response would be the same. Like, my dad's already a good person. I don't want to be the one that's like, my dad does need that change. Get him.
Your daughter's like, good.
Yeah. He needs that. Can you add in that I need more allowance?
That's good because he agreed with the guy who wanted to kill half the planet. So this is good. This will be a good change for him.
I also, real quick, just said, thanks for adding electrical shorted sounds. Otherwise, how would I ever know that these people are all being brainwashed? Like every 10 fucking seconds. Like, oh, wow, that's like graphics, yes.
Everybody must be getting a text message at the same time. That's what that noise is.
That's what it sounded like. Damn it.
So we fix Pat's brain control kind of fast with the whole... Or he fights it for a little bit because Courtney's like, it's Courtney, your daughter. Like, oh, now y'all are good? Now that you found out that your dad's not Starman and he's a piece of shit, and now you're fully accepted.
Now you want to be a nice person? Yeah, good for you.
Now you want to be... You can't be a Dugan now. It's too late.
I put that Brainwave had time to somehow pick out 2 out of 10 million fucking people to be able to... Hold on. Oh, these 2. Yep. Let's make them attack people instead.
Who? Brainwave and who? I mean, Pat.
Oh, I guess technically the
Justin didn't really.
The Knight
anything.
did not. Yeah, I'm sorry. Shining Knight didn't actually attack.
Or the Shadow
he picked
Knight.
Pat out of
25
million
out of
people.
10 million-ish people, and is like, this guy, he's gonna
even smaller odds.
Also, how is that one teacher like? Out of everybody, that one teacher is the casualty. How hard was he fighting the brain waving to just like within seconds when dead? I'm like, wait a minute.
I imagine a high school teacher would be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm riding the ride.
Seriously, ride this bitch out. Oh man.
So we find out how the super villains are staying away from the head pain, and I was curious about that too. So I guess I'm glad they explained it with a thing that does stuff.
I just assumed that Brainwave can also select those people not to do it to.
That's fair.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering, but they could have explained it less.
Yeah, it's like in comic books when it's like, oh hey, before we go underwater, take this little pill that helps you breathe underwater, and you're like, all right, yeah, let me take that pill.
Yeah, you could have literally just Brainwave could have handed someone like a little earpiece and said, "Don't forget this" or something. Like,
Right.
we could have put two and two together.
But how else would you have that sweet scene with the gambler?
It was like the gambler who heard the entire conversation as it was going down, and we just kept talking about the plans we were trying to do. Is that gambler? Is that the one you meant?
I have 2 notes for this scene when Chuck is essentially trying to hack the system and decides to attack the gambler's money. First of all, it was literally seconds when they discussed this plan. Chuck's like, I could hack into this. And then the gambler's like, you can't. I'm already ahead of you. And he's like, oh, right. It's a stalemate. This is 2 seconds in. Like, he's like, every time I do break a firewall, he puts another one up. Like, how long have you been trying, Chuck? We didn't try hard enough, in my opinion.
Because the gambler looks like he's just sitting there doing nothing.
He does. Until they start taking his money. And that's
he's
my
just
second
double clicking. He's just double clicking. Close.
Until they start taking his money, which becomes my second note, which is, God, I hate how TV portrays hacking. Why does hacking equal just slamming your keys as hard as possible? They're like, we're going to take his money. He's like, fuck! Like, I didn't need that.
Maybe that was more anger because they were taking all his money.
I guess. He was real mad.
Let me ask you, how would you input something in a computer if you were losing $1 million by the second?
Swiftly and
would it be the same velocity, the same pain?
It would. I just need to know what keyboard he's using that he's slamming that hard.
So I wrote down a small note that doesn't really fit anywhere, but it says, if Starman was Courtney's father, I don't know that this mission would be going as well as it is. Because had Barbara not found out and emailed her dad, and her dad came and just been a garbage person, what would Courtney have said to get Pat on the right page? And she would have been.
She would have gotten decked by Stripe, just plow right through the wall,
right in the midriff.
Right in the midriff. I have a note somewhere about that, Stephanie. Eventually, you're going to hear my note on midriffs.
I do as well. I wonder if
it's actually one of my last notes. So I do. Fun tidbit for you guys, because I imagine we're going to talk about the death of a character right now. I don't know. Chuck.
Okay, yeah, we can talk about Chuck.
I feel like that happened next. I didn't put a note about him.
Yeah. Well, we had the big fight in the lair. Remember?
Oh, that's
because it wasn't.
Yeah,
it
Chuck
wasn't
happened
until
after Jordan was.
My apologies. You're right.
No, you're fine. We can talk about that. We can.
Either way, fun note about Chuck
it.
specifically. It doesn't. We don't have to talk about his death, but did you know that Chuck is the voice of Chuck is Elliot from E.T.?
I did not.
No.
Why do you know that?
Because I was like, I'm going to search into every single character I can think of. And the guy that answers the door at the end, the landowner, I was like, I swear he's got to be somebody. Like,
right.
It was, and so I went and Google searched every single person that was listed in the credits, and he came up, and I was like, holy shit, who was he in E.T.? And then found that.
Interesting.
He's in a lot. But yeah, anyway.
So
sorry.
I think a chunk that we can just talk about start to finish is Rick and Grundy. How'd you feel about
my note on that
with him?
I have 2 notes for that.
Okay.
What fucking bullshit does Yolanda think she's gonna pull right now, lecturing him about how killing's wrong? Because some shit's about to go down. Fuck you. I'll do what I want to the monster.
Not to mention, we were gonna murder Henry in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, like several times.
Yeah.
People had to talk you out of it.
We had to have an intervention about you not murdering someone.
The second note I have is how much I love how relentlessly Solomon just destroys Pat. But then at some point, like I get that he's like a beast and he doesn't have, the cognizant ability of a normal human being, but like relentlessly just destroys Pat and is about to murder him, but then like begs for mercy. Like, no, not me. Please don't hurt me.
See, that's weird because in my experiences with Solomon Grundy, he's been
smart.
Smart. He's been conscious. He's just kind of like almost like Bizarro Man.
Yeah.
He still knows what's happening. This one, he was basically a dog.
Yeah.
And I wrote down, is Rick just a shitty Batman?
You know what? This is the first time I kind of liked Rick.
Because he was like, well, yes, but at the beginning he was like, when I see Grundy, I'm gonna take like
I agree.
You're losing
But-
focus.
Like his character in general in this episode was the first time I was like, I like this. He that fits. I like him as our man. We can have season 2 with him. Fine.
Yeah, I wrote down that we definitely called, Grundy being in the last episode. Not that was hard to
Yeah.
scope.
Well, they
Yeah,
used
I was
all
telling
of their
Derek that too.
they used all of their CGI budget
Mhm.
in this episode, and it must have run out right when Barbara starts falling off the clock. I don't know if you guys watched, because I had to watch the scene twice now. And if you watch Barbara falling off the clock, it is genuinely like a homemade video from a high schooler. It's fucking awful.
Well, they
God,
used
anyway,
their entire budget for the entire season on Grundy.
yeah, for the little bit of Grundy we had.
And I like that. I know it wasn't gonna happen, but Rick has beaten the mess out of Grundy, right? He's gotten out of the system, I guess, and
Mhm.
picks up a rock. And I was like, has it been 5 minutes? Is it going to fall on him? Like, is that how Grundy's going to get away? It's like, oh my God, it's heavy. And he just falls over.
I have to think that part of it. So my thought process the second time watching it was that I think that it was a high IQ move rather than a sympathy move to let Grundy go.
I don't know, man.
I think his time was coming up when he had the rock in his hand, and rather than continuing this fight, being like, "Yeah, you better run. I'm gonna let you go," kind of thing,
He
and
could have
knowing
just
that he
dropped
couldn't have.
it, though.
Yeah, but what happens if Grundy stopped it from killing him, and then all of a sudden Grundy's real pissed, and you have no strength anymore?
I don't know, man. Grundy gave those puppy eyes.
Yeah, no, I remember the sound. He was like,
Yeah, he was.
It reminded me of you remember the Village? Remember the kid that they dressed up as the damn monster?
Yes,
and
yes,
he falls?
yes.
God dang it.
And then
Terrible.
he what I called Lion Kinged him. He told him to run away and never return.
The fight was cool. I don't know if you guys saw the Dragon King do this weird ass like acrobatic twisty move in the air as he's flying towards the Shining Knight. I don't understand why that was needed, but
I didn't, and it's because when they shot this scene, they turned all the lights off.
they did. It's a real low budget move right there.
But you know what? I saw some of Stargirl's moves, and they were actually pretty cool. That where she grabbed her leg and came down with it. That was a cool little kick. And then she gave the little staff uppercut.
I don't know why we couldn't have given Justin his little moment. You couldn't have let Justin kill him?
It's so funny because down at the bottom of my notes, he was like, "I didn't do anything," and I was like, "That's what I was thinking when I saw him." When he was about to leave, I was like, "Yeah, you were. Were you there? You were
Your
useless."
role in this was useless.
Like, why have him in so many episodes, make him such a big part? Obviously, in the beginning, it's just a janitor, and then he gets knocked out?
So he could bring the KFC, baby.
He's done two important things. He stopped Cindy from murdering Courtney, and he brought KFC.
Finger licking good.
He could have at least, gotten a good, hit in or something.
Yeah.
Hurt,
Done
I
anything
keep calling him the dragon now. I don't know what his name is anymore.
Dragon King?
Dragon King.
Yeah, he
Okay.
just kept calling him the dragon. I was like, I can't remember what they call him now.
Yeah, he could have at least
Dr. Ito?
injured him.
Ito.
Dr. Ito or the Dragon King. But yeah, he could have hurt him. But instead we had Shiv break out of her.
Yeah.
Because the lock got knocked off, and so she got to
And then
murder people.
She came out like a monster, where she puts the one hand around the door, and then proceeds to murder her father.
I thought this whole hand movement was very unnecessary. Who opens a door with their hand on the outside of it?
She's ready to jam. So Brainwave is like, I'm gonna go get rid of these kids, and he just gets up, and I'm like,
Oh, thank God you said something.
I'm like, you can just get up, like.
He says that Dr. Ito put this brainwave on loop should do the rest of the work for programming. Nah, dog, that's not how that shit works. I'm
why
not even and what I'm not in this comic book universe. I didn't write this character, but I'm telling you right now, in no fucking way is it oh yeah, I can just walk away, put that bitch on repeat.
Dr. Ito basically says this might melt your whole body, but you can get up 5 minutes at the end and just put it on loop.
He's like, if he's mailing that shit in, he's like, I'm good. I gotta pee.
They just had to figure out a way to get him involved in the fight.
He's like,
Why did they need him in the first place?
I think when she destroyed the satellite, it should have just melted his brain like feedback.
Well, that didn't happen because we already got to him.
No,
What?
I'm just saying, like, that's how we could have involved him.
Right.
We could have been done with that.
Yeah, but he tells Gambler, he's like, I'm good. I'm going to go deal with these kids. I'm like,
Yeah.
you can't just, the whole point of machines like that in any comic book I've ever read or any movie I've ever seen is you need to be there.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah,
just,
so if they knock you out, they can stop the machine.
because at that point, I feel like when Courtney and Yolanda get to it later, they could have just hit a switch. They didn't even have to destroy it. They could just,
Right?
You could have just pulled one plug. You didn't have to destroy everything,
Yeah.
you jerks.
and almost murder yourselves in the process. Wildcat ends up being the one who has to go shut off the machine, which I thought was odd, but I guess with the scene coming up, it wasn't. And she just proceeds to what I assume is murder a bunch of people in a room because they weren't moving, and I'm not sure.
They're
And
all
they were-
piled up too.
In fairness, they are kind of like not really
they're already
people
dead.
anymore.
That's fair.
But yeah, no, the whole speech about like all I thought about was you, and it was fucking Henry, and then it was like they were. What did she say?
They were his friends too.
Yeah, they were his friends too, and then rips his throat out. I put a note that said, actually, I feel like he wasn't really their friends. He barely knew any of them.
I wrote down Wildcat murders Brainwave for saying one wrong word. We didn't even double check.
Wait, I said, and it was like, I literally what they weren't his friends. He barely knew any of them. ... That's the hunch we went on to murder him.
You know what? I think that, to be fair, I think that Henry would have said them by name. Where's the team? Where are the guys? Where's Courtney?
Where's Courtney?
You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, she was right, so that's good. And
But
would've
this
been
is such a
better if she
stupid
was
episode for
wrong.
Brainwave. Brainwave just sits there and I guess mind controls people. Whatever. Such a boring power to portray. Then gets up from his one job.
should have stayed in the
Only
chair.
to be killed by like a 12-year-old?
So did he do something to her before he died? Because I heard
No.
brain wavy noise, like while she was staring at him, watching him bleed out.
Oh,
Because we get the Henry's alive, just kidding thing, which I was like, all right, that wasn't bad. That was because you got me a little bit. Maybe I
much
really
greater would
wanted
have been
him
if
to
she
be
was
alive.
wrong though.
I'm disappointed in
Like,
how
Henry's just
quickly-
lying on the ground bleeding out. Like, why?
I'm disappointed in how quickly Brainwave was foiled. But
Also, so Brainwave can just change faces? Is that a power that we
I
have?
think it was that he took over her mind and made her see something else, like Mrs. Stereo kind of thing.
All right.
yeah, so he took over and made her see Henry. And
So
then
maybe
when
that's the
he
noise
couldn't
you heard
control
then.
her anymore.
Maybe that's the noise you heard. Is when you heard the brain noise. It was her losing seeing him as Henry.
Maybe. So they deliver a bunch of lines that I hated, like back to back to back. Rick saves Pat and goes, "My turn," followed by Courtney going, "I don't have time for this," and then shocking Tigra, and then Yolanda going, "I know I'm not supposed to, but I did it." And I'm like, these are just badly written, all of them. All these are terrible. Give me
Mhm.
something better, please.
I wrote down, "I don't have time for this," and then Sunbeam bitches to death. Where the hell was this earlier? Why are we not sunbeaming everybody?
Right.
That was my note. Also, we could have saved so much more time if you would have done that to literally everyone in the room.
Yeah, like come in like it's a fire hose. Like just spray it on everybody. Yeah, you didn't have time when you came in the room. They handle that. We find Yolanda, who's killed a man today.
We don't ever touch on that.
Finally.
Ever.
I
We
mean-
never talk about it.
I think it's gonna come up next season because she was still like off into space because she slit a man's throat
She just
today.
murdered a man.
She finally got to kill Henry, though, and she's been trying to do that the entire season.
Yeah, that's gotta be so good for her. She got to kill Henry
Cathartic.
and the person who killed Henry.
It's like a win-win.
So Courtney blows up the satellite and then it just starts crashing on them. And I was like, was there not a better way for you to get this going?
I love at the end of it. They're like, it's like nothing ever happened. Bullshit.
Yeah. No one will ever
There's
know.
There's a lot of infrastructure underneath that school we need to discuss at this point.
And there's a lot of kids who know about this now.
Right. They saw the satellite come up, at least. They at
I've
least
put-
saw that.
During the icicle fight, which I don't have many notes on because to me it was kind of boring, except for the very end of it. But the rest of it was like, oh, okay. I wrote Wildcat saves her, so now we feel better about her just slicing a man's throat open.
That's funny.
Like we laughed when we got to the bottom, like, haha, it was my turn to save you.
I wrote down, I completely forgot about the landing on the feet thing. I was like,
Well, they had to remind you.
When she jumped, I was like, what are you gonna do here?
I mean, you're gonna stop this. We're going together.
I almost missed that she landed on her feet, and I was like, what is she doing? Like, is she expecting the staff? What is she doing? And then I was like, oh, she can land on her feet. That's right.
So we lose Chuck, an important part of the team, right? Mm-hmm. And I understand that Chuck died, and Beth is devastated because they were like, you're my best friend. You're my best friend. But Icicle took Barbara, and she's like a person, and you just let her go.
You, like, to the point where you're in shock and you don't really know what's going on. And you're just like, I don't know.
You're still looking at your goggles. Your friend's mom's been kidnapped.
It's like if I had a best
probably
friend
be murdered.
Like if I had a best friend on World of Warcraft and we just never played again, and then my child was also kidnapped. I'm like, what about that one guy one time? You've known him for like 3 weeks.
Right.
Anyway, he's also
like,
a computer.
Where's my mom?
He's also a computer. We don't ever see Beth's parents again, right? Like, that's just a...
Okay.
No, they shouldn't exist anymore.
You don't see anybody's family again.
Yeah. Except for that one girl.
What happened to Jordan's son?
Even Yolanda, we never saw again. I'm assuming Jordan's son's at school.
I wrote at the end, do these kids just not celebrate things with their families anymore?
That's what I'm saying. We'd never see anybody else. We have paid these actors, and they are going about their way.
Rick's the only one that makes sense. His stepdad, his uncle was a dick. So
I would have turned my hourglass and punched him in the dick, and then went home to Pat and the gang. So then, we get to the last one of the season. Let's talk about Mike. Your boy killed a man today.
And we don't even really acknowledge the fact that it was murder.
And like Yolanda, here's what I like. At the end, Yolanda's sitting on the bleachers. She's reflecting what happened. Mike's like dancing up and down, like having a good time, hugging everybody. Courtney's tussling his hair. Like this man drove illegally and murdered someone. I guess you're on the team.
See what he said. He goes, "Does this mean I'm in the JSA?" And I loved Justin's expression more than anything. He's like, he just says, "I lad," and then just like, murder, do it.
Like,
what?
Did you know it was him? Like,
did we just tell him it was an ice sculpture the whole time? Like, no, that's good.
Could you just not see over the steering wheel and hit a speed bump and don't know what happened? So we were right about the 3 characters dying that we thought were going to die. We lost Brainwave. He had run his course. We lost Dragon King, and then we lost Icicle. We went back and forth on whether it would be Icicle or Brainwave, but I mean, we said all 3 of those. I'm pretty sure
Sportsmaster and Tigress are dead too.
Well, she got light coma, baby. Who knows?
I think they're all murdered. We have gone a whole different route. Like, it's not even like Batman. Like, we just beat them a lot. Wait, we murdered people in there.
Right.
We're gonna start a whole new team with just Shiv.
We did. We murdered a lot of people, and we were like, "All right, have a good day, everybody." Pat and Barbara make out on top of the building, and I'm like, "He's all bloody and gross, and this is gross to me."
That was to let you know that they're okay now.
Yeah, that was a weird.
He murdered a man, or tried to.
Awkward scene.
He distracted a man that got murdered.
He's distracted her. Hold on, he's distracted a man so that he could then involve her daughter and murder.
So we can just drive that point home for the second time of 3.
It was his kid that did the murdering, so it's okay.
Fair. They didn't know that he was gonna live through that. Why did he land and like half of his body was ice?
I don't know.
Is that him being damaged?
I called that he was just going to fall and get shattered. And kind of, it made the noise. But then he was like, I'm okay. No blood at all. And then he was run over with a car by a 12-year-old.
Who just happened to be there in the nick of time.
All right.
We get the Christmas scene.
We do get the Christmas scene.
And that felt weird and unnecessary. And I think we only did it so that she could give him the gift.
Was that
and
the
drive
gift
home that daughter point again.
Yeah. And here, I wrote this down. I thought for some reason that the gift was actually from her dad. I didn't realize it was from her to her dad. I always thought it was from her dad to her, and she just didn't want to open it.
It was the gift from the beginning, right?
Yeah. I guess I remembered it wrong.
I remembered it as being what she wanted to give him.
I would, as Pat would be like, I kind of feel like this is, you didn't make it for me, so really, you're just kind of.
Does he know that though?
I think so. He's got it, right?
I wrote down, dads get the worst gifts.
The cup. Woo.
We get all the ties and mugs and.
I then wrote on their little expedition, It's got to be cold as balls with a bare midriff and shorts on. We said it's snowing outside in the middle of what shithole are they in, Nebraska? And they're like, we're just going to go ahead and fly out there.
Yeah, especially when she opened her window in her
frozen.
sweater. Yeah, opened her window and her sweater went brr. And then put on her outfit that does half protection.
Mun says it's too cool to be flying with that midriff.
She got them shorts on too. Like, those shorts are short.
Yeah.
That's cold.
I just imagine, and then when she sat down on top of that thing, I was like, that suit better be super protective or your butt's real cold.
So, we promised Beth that we were going to fix the goggles and bring Chuck back. That's a big promise to not know how because let's be clear, none of the technology that we've been using, we know how it works.
No.
None of it.
And Dr. Midnight created those goggles, so it's not like, it would be one thing if like Our Man had created it,
right?
Because he's supposed to be a scientist and like he had notes on it or some shit, which is what they're gonna do. They'll be like, "Oh, Our Man had notes on it," and then that's how they'll repair them.
I assume that it will be like maybe mid-season that we'll bring back the goggles, and Beth will kind of just feel left out and whatnot.
Maybe they'll like transfer his memory or mind to a computer, and she'll be like an oracle.
I can see that. So, Michael, do you know anything about the Black Smoke or Eclipso?
Shade. So I think it's Dr. Shade or just Shade is Richard Swift.
Mm-hmm.
He was a common thief. He's British. He has the ability to control like shadows and shit.
Okay.
One fun fact, and I think this may be how they tie it in, he actually was in Flash. An actor named Mike McCloud played Shade. A different iteration of him, but this could be the way we tie in the universes now.
Right.
Eclipso is a god, the god spirit of wrath, and was trapped in that diamond for something. I don't remember what he did. But it's not good that he exists. He has a lot of power.
Yeah, and I guess he's always been in that picture, and we just never noticed?
Dr. Shade, yes. Dr. Shade, I remember seeing Dr. Shade back there. And just assuming that was someone we were never going to know. Like, I remember seeing eyes back there. I don't remember, but, we also had Bowen in there, and we never really got him. Although, interestingly, Isaac Bowen, which is the name of the kid, is the name of the original fiddler. So
is he going to learn how to play
the fiddle now?
The fiddle now?
Nope.
Or does the magic transfer over to the tuba? Interestingly, I thought it was interesting. The fiddler got his powers by being in a Hindu prison and learned from a snake charmer the magic ability to control people through music, and that's how he got his abilities. And then relocated himself to Keystone City, Kansas in 1947, because that's where I go.
One of my last things I wrote down is Stripes even able to be on that water tower? Shouldn't it just collapse?
It should.
Instantly. Also thought that when he stepped down. I was like, and collapse.
The last thing I wrote was nobody needed Joe McHale to come back.
I didn't like that either. Starman lives. Yay.
It's dumb. We don't need that.
What are we going to do now? How are we supposed to deal with this?
Right.
He's going to want his staff back.
I was he's going to come back, and they're going to have like 3 or 4 episodes where it's like, I want my staff back. And then eventually he's going to just pass the mantle and be done. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I would just stay hidden if it was me.
Yeah.
And then we got the last card that says Courtney Elizabeth Johns. Does anybody know who that is? I do.
Oh, I didn't see that. No.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's like in memory of.
Oh, okay.
So Courtney is Jeff Johns, the creator of the comic book. It's his sister who passed away when she was 18. She passed away apparently on a TWA flight, like an explosion, in 1996.
Interesting.
Dang.
Yeah. So Stargirl, the name Courtney is based off of his sister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I bet his sister was a better person than.
I was going to say, I don't know if the personalities are the same,
right?
But I think, I've not seen any pictures of her, but I would assume that he closely based it on that, which is nice. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did you get to make a comic about your sister who passed away, or your sibling, not even just a sister, but it became a famous comic, slightly famous comic, and a show. That's just a cool little tidbit there.
Let us know what you guys thought about the episode. You can comment down below, or you can reach us at any of our social medias on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. They're all Friendship Supreme, except for Twitter, Friendship Supreme without any eyes. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. This is all thanks to Cleve. He put this all together, and we really appreciate it. I've been Michael.
This is Cleve.
This is Stephanie.
Thank you so much Thanks for sticking it out for us. And remember, just be nice to your stepdad in the beginning, and who knows where this could lead you.
Bop.
Bop, bop, bop. Bibbidi-bop.
Them ending it with that was the best.
All right.
Also, there was no pen.
I know.
There was no pen.
Fucking bullshit.
All right. I'll see you all later.
All right, bye.